Hi, it's Heather here again. It's been a long time since I made a video. Last time I made this video, I was just shaving my head, which I've done, and I'm actually to the point where my hair is growing back now. So I shaved my head, and it was the most liberating and amazing feeling in the world, I think, almost, for at least to me at that moment. I've always had really thick hair, and it was really nice to be able to feel the relief of having air on my head, I guess. It was really kind of freeing and nice. So I shaved my head, and then my hair started falling out the rest of the way, you could tell. So then I took a razor, a Gillette Fusion, to my head, and was like that for a few months. So I went through a couple more rounds of chemo. After my third session of chemo, I went for another PET scan. I then went for a fourth round of chemo. The fourth round really seemed to get a lot worse than the other rounds before. I was so much more tired. I just was feeling so down. My joints were starting to really bother me. And I was definitely getting to the point where I was not a fan. So after the fourth round, or maybe it was right before the fourth round, I got a phone call telling me that I was actually in remission, that there was no activity in my scan. So I am now in remission. I have been since December, the end of December. The last round I had was December 28th, and it is now the first week of March. Since then, well, after my fourth round, my symptoms were getting worse. So not just the tired and the joint pain, but I was losing feeling in the tips of my fingers more often. I had been losing feeling in the tips of my toes occasionally, and it actually had started spreading into the balls of my feet that I started feeling the tingling numbness. I'm trying to think of what my other symptoms were. I mean, obviously the nausea, the exhaustion, but now I have to say the major thing is a speech issue and memory issue. So I don't know, some of you know, some of you don't know. I run multiple businesses, as in addition to having 2 children. So I run a photography business, and I run a handmade store made up of local vendors. I meet with clients about weddings, and I guess this isn't the greatest thing to say, but it's the truth, so I'm going to tell you. I meet with wedding clients, and I sit down with the brides and grooms, and we chat, and I take notes about what we're chatting about. I love getting that one-on-one with them, and I really enjoy meeting with these brides and grooms. About a week ago, maybe a little bit more, I looked at my notebook because I went to take notes for another event that I was going to be photographing, and I was reading these notes, and I did not remember them at all. The names of the people I did not remember. The scenario I did not remember at first. And it really actually angered me. I was so mad at myself because I could not remember, and this is my business. This is how I make my money. This is my life. My 2 children and my fiance, in my business, those are my life, of course, in my other family as well, but, I was so mad at myself. It took me hours before I remembered the conversation at all, but at that point, I still didn't even remember the couple, and it's not like I meet with thousands of people every year. I meet with maybe 20 couples a year, and at this point, I've not met with that many because I drastically cut back on my business. So it was really upsetting to me that it took me probably 2 days to remember the entire conversation. And I believe that's a result of the chemo because I've never had issues like that before. The other issue that I have is a speech problem. So sometimes I have the word on the tip of my tongue and I cannot get it out. Other times, I actually stutter. So when I pause, sometimes it's not because I'm trying to pause, it's because I'm thinking about it, just like right there. So I know what I'm trying to say, and it's just not coming out. Like, I can actually form the word and the sound won't come out. The brain connection isn't there. And then other times I do a stuttering thing. So it's just a stuttering thing. I was explaining to a friend of mine, and as I'm explaining it to it was happening. So you keep hearing me pause over and over and over again as I'm talking. And that's not intentional whatsoever. That is my issue that I'm having lately. A lot of people think that it will go away eventually as the chemo gets out of my system. But I only hope they're right, I guess. I do have to go back to the doctor. I did miss my last doctor's appointment. I know, not good, but, when you can't remember things and when you run 2 businesses and have 2 children, things get a little crazy. So I do have to reschedule that. But I did want to let you know a little bit about the conversation that I had with my doctor at the time when he told me that I was in remission. So, as explained to me by him, 2 rounds of chemo after remission is considered to be the best possible scenario for keeping away lymphoma. So we did the test to find out I was in remission after round 3. I continued into round 4. And then that's when I met with my doctors after round 4. So he said the school of thought is 2 chemos after remission. However, I told him that I thought the symptoms were getting to be a little too much for me in my way of life and raising my children, that I was exhausted, that I was sleeping as much as possible, that I wasn't getting any work done, that I didn't want to keep doing it. Originally, I was doing chemotherapy because my life was in danger. Literally, my life was in danger. The size of the mass was so large, pushing on my heart, on my spine, on my sternum, on my lungs, that everyone was amazed that I was still walking around and being as normal as I was. My heart was significantly impacted by the size of the lymphoma. As my doctor put it, it was a life or death situation at that point. He never said that to me in the beginning, but he said that to me after when I was in the clear. But yeah, it was literally life or death for me at that moment. So I started chemotherapy. Now that I'm not facing a life or death situation, I was able to step back and think about what I wanted to do. And that's when I decided to discontinue chemotherapy. So I did 1 round after remission. The school of thought's 2 rounds, but I decided not to do it. I didn't believe that putting the toxins and the poisons into my body was the best scenario for me anymore. So instead, right now, I've been taking vitamin D, which is has a lot of links with lymphoma, and actually has a lot of links with a lot of things. If you research vitamin D, especially people in New England and our colder, snowier, not so sunny states, you will definitely see that there is a difference in people's health conditions versus the amount of sun they get. So sun is vitamin D. So I'm taking a vitamin D supplement, so that should help keep the lymphoma away. Excuse me. I am also trying to do more green leafy vegetables, which also have a lot of vitamins and nutrients in them. And my plan is also to start doing rebounding, which is pretty much exercising and jumping on a trampoline for about 5 minutes a day. Unfortunately, my joint pain, I've always had joint problems, especially in my knees. So I think the chemotherapy kind of made that an issue, more of an issue lately. So I need to get my knees healthier before I can start the rebounding exercises. But yeah, so that's my plan to start that. So then I'm going to go back to see my doctor and talk to him about how the practices that we're doing now is working. I'm going to continue to go through testing, and I will make more videos, I promise you. Sorry it took me so long to make this video, but I did want to let everybody know that I'm in remission. I'm doing well, and I decided to just continue chemotherapy. All right, talk to you guys again soon. Bye-bye.